Hola, welcome to part 2B, the second video associated with lesson 2 in my series on asking and answering questions in Spanish. So if you haven't seen part 2A in this series, I'd strongly encourage you to do that before watching this video 2B. In the previous lesson, we were discussing formulaic questions and answers, which are extremely useful, but they can only get us so far in conversation. The purpose of this lesson, part 2B, is to take a closer look at how the dynamic of asking and answering questions works in Spanish by exploring 5 factors that influence both the meaning and the structure of questions, their semantic and syntactic properties or makeup. If you learn to pay attention to these 5 factors, you'll have a better chance of comprehending what's being asked and of responding in ways that are semantically and structurally appropriate, and correct. All right, the first of these 5 factors concerns identifying the functional focus or emphasis of the questions posed to us. Now, most questions in everyday conversations correspond to a relatively limited list of function emphases. One way to think about these is to ask, what information is the question primarily trying to elicit? What kind of information am I, as the respondent, supposed to provide? Keep in mind that the underlying function of a question can influence not only its meaning, but also its structure. So these question types, or function types, whatever we want to call them, should help us to determine how to respond in terms of content and structure. So pay attention to that relationship between content and structure you'll see in the examples. For example, we'll see that certain functions call for very simple responses, right, like a yes or no, or choosing between an alternative, whereas others elicit answers that are more complex and open-ended. So let's take a closer look at these question function types. So on these next few slides, we'll look at a number of common question functional foci or emphases. One of the most common we see on this slide is the simple yes or no. And you'll notice that when the verb comes first in the structure, the question tends to be either yes or no or the choice between alternatives. These are very easy to answer. So if I'm asked, for example, ¿hablas español? It's just yes or no. Sí. No, no hablo español. ¿Estudias francés? Sí, estudio francés. Or just sí. ¿Vives en Texas o Texas? No, no vivo en Texas. Vivo en California. A second function type is the choice between alternatives. ¿Hablas español o italiano? ¿Estudias francés o alemán? ¿Vivas en Texas o en California? Even easier because they're giving me one of the answers, right? ¿Hablas español o italiano? Italiano, I answer. ¿Estudias francés o alemán? Estudio alemán. ¿Vives en Texas o en California? I can just say, en Texas. Right, moving on. Second set here, we have when someone wants us to specify an object or a topic. ¿Qué estudias? Estudio español. ¿Qué compraste? Past tense, preterite. What did you buy? Compré 2 camisas. I bought 2 shirts. ¿Qué necesitas? ¿Qué necesitas? Necesito un pedazo de papel. I need a piece of paper. Una hoja de papel. Okay? Or someone might ask us to specify an activity. Okay? Notice the presence of que, the interrogative, and a form of the verb hacer. We'll talk more about this later. ¿Qué haces por la tarde? What do you do in the afternoons? ¿Qué haces por la tarde? I have to supply the activity, and under normal circumstances, I can't use the verb hacer. So say what I do in the afternoons is study. ¿Qué haces por la tarde? Estudio por la tarde. ¿Qué hiciste anoche? What did you do last night? Again, I need to specify or supply the activity. ¿Qué hiciste anoche? What did you do last night? Vi televisión. Mire televisión. ¿Qué vas a hacer si llueve? What are you going to do if it rains? ¿Qué vas a hacer si llueve? Again, specify an activity. Voy a quedarme en casa y ver televisión. Okay, for example. All right, another function or another few functions, right? Questions might pertain to information about our likes and our dislikes. And we're going to see examples of all these question function types in parts 2b, this part, and part 2c of this lesson. So, likes and dislikes, we're going to see the verb gustar with an indirect object pronoun, te, me, le, nos, os. ¿Te gusta el helado de chocolate? And I'm going to say, sí, sí me gusta mucho el helado. Or, no, no me gusta. ¿Qué te gusta hacer los sábados? ¿Qué te gusta hacer? So if I hear Gusta, they're asking me about my likes or dislikes. Obviously, if I hear a question, ¿dónde? ¿A dónde? Right? It's a question about place, location, destination. ¿Dónde vive María? María vive en San Francisco. ¿Dónde está el centro comercial? Where is it located? The mall. El centro comercial. ¿Dónde está? Right? Está en el centro, en la calle, bla, bla, bla. ¿A dónde fueron tus padres? Where did they go? Right? To what place did they go? Fueron al mercado. Another question function that's very common is asking about who was involved, who were the participants in an activity. Right? ¿Quién vive cerca de la facultad? Who lives close to campus? ¿Con quién te gusta estudiar? So if you hear quién, asking about participants. If you hear dónde, asking about location. If you hear gusta, gustan, right? Gustaba, etc., asking about likes and dislikes. Other common functions, right? Information about circumstances, right? Where the circumstance is really the driver of the question and the answer. ¿Qué haces cuando tienes tiempo libre? So in the case that you have free time. ¿O qué vamos a hacer si ellos no llegan? So sometimes cuando or si introduce circumstances that we need to pay attention to answer the question, right? What are we going to do if they don't arrive? Si ellos no llegan. And I can start my question or my answer with that condition. Bueno, si ellos no llegan, vamos a, then whatever, right? A common question function is to ask about time, right? ¿Cuándo vamos al cine? Vamos al cine el domingo. ¿A qué hora empieza la película? Empieza a las 9:20. ¿A qué hora es tu clase de geografía? Mi clase de geografía es a las 9:30 o empieza a las 10:45. Or, similar to questions about time, the emphasis might be about duration. So again, I'm calling these question function or emphasis types. Right? What's the emphasis of the question? What information is it truly trying to elicit? Maybe it's about duration of an activity. ¿Cuánto tiempo vivieron en Londres? Again, ¿cuántas horas trabajas los domingos? So you're going to hear cuánto, cuántas, right? ¿Cuánto tiempo vivieron en Londres? Vivimos en Londres durante 3 años. ¿Cuántas horas trabajas los domingos? Trabajo solo 4 horas los domingos. A few more here. Information about the frequency. Cenas en casa todas las noches. So that it's not about whether or not I eat at home. It's about how often. What's the frequency? ¿Hablan con sus hijos a diario? You talk to your kids every day, a diario? So again, the real emphasis of the question, what it's really eliciting from me, is information about the frequency, right? Another function type, information about quantity or possession, whether you have something or how much of it you have. ¿Cuántos hermanos tienes? How many brothers and sisters do you have? ¿Cuánto cuesta el libro que quieres? ¿Cuántas calorías tiene ese pastel? One thing I'll just point out quickly here is if the verb tener shows up in a question with cuánto, you tend to answer with the verb tener. ¿Cuántos hermanos tienes? Tengo 4, 2 hermanos y 2 hermanas. ¿Cuántas calorías tiene ese pastel? Tiene 350 por pedazo. Information about reasons is another common function or question emphasis. ¿Por qué no me llamaste? Why didn't you? Right? Why didn't you? O ¿por qué estudian ellos francés? Why do they study French? ¿Por qué estudian ellos francés? And then finally, some questions are about our information, or are about information about feelings and emotions, right? How do you feel? Are you upset? So that's another category. ¿Cómo te sientes? ¿Estás enojada? Okay. Or they might be asking us primarily about description, right? Here we're going to have the interrogative, ¿cómo? ¿Cómo es tu hermano? What's your brother like? ¿Cómo son esas clases? What are the classes like? So again, associate como many times with a description, okay? Or someone might finally ask us about an opinion or a reaction. ¿Qué piensas de esa idea? Very open-ended types of questions that begin with ¿qué piensas de? What do you think about that idea? ¿Qué piensas de esa idea? ¿Qué opinan de su jefe? What do you think about your boss? ¿Qué te pareció la película? Literally, what did the movie seem to you like, right? What do you think of the movie? ¿Qué te pareció la película? So we've gone from functions or emphasis, question emphases that elicit a very simple yes or no question, to question function or emphasis types that elicit very open-ended reactions or statements, right? Responses like these opinion/reactions. ¿Qué piensas de? Okay, beyond these various interrogative function types, another helpful factor to consider when trying to make sense of questions has to do with what I call add-ons. So what exactly are these add-ons I want us to be looking out for? Well, first of all, add-ons is not necessarily a technical term, just the one I'm going to use throughout this video to refer to words, short phrases, or clauses that provide additional information about a particular activity. Linguists, they make a distinction between what they call complements, which are necessary elements associated with verbs in well-formed or grammatical sentences, and adjuncts, which are not syntactically essential, but which provide additional information. So most of the add-ons I'll be referring to in this lesson are actually really adjuncts. Although these might not always be syntactically necessary, these kind of add-ons are sometimes the real focus of the questions. It's what we're really being asked. And as such, they are semantically necessary, okay? Anyway, before all of this mumbo jumbo, right, gets too technical, let's consider a few examples. Now, most types of questions and responses have or require add-ons, but one exception where an add-on is unnecessary would be a simple yes or no question, like the type we talked about in the previous section. So for example, if somebody asks me, ¿Estudias español? The add-on is already part of the question. I can simply respond sí or even no, right? But most of the time they're necessary either as the overt or the implied focus of the question. So let's look at some more examples. If somebody asks me, ¿Qué estudias? They're expecting me to supply the add-on complement, right? The topic, estudio química. Or if somebody says, ¿Qué vas a comer? They're also expecting me to add on or to supply the complement or the add-on pescado or pollo, right? Voy a comer pescado, right? In an example like, ¿Dónde vas a cenar? Or ¿Con quién vas al cine? In these examples, the emphasis of the question is not so much on the eating or the going to the movies, but on the targeted add-on, right? Where or with whom. So, voy a cenar en casa. That's what they want to know, is where. Or voy al cine con mi novia. The add-on is con mi novia, right? That's with whom I'm going. ¿Cuándo tienen clase? Tenemos clase, add-on, los jueves, right? It's necessary, it's expected. I can't reply adequately to the question without this add-on. ¿Qué hiciste ayer? What did you do yesterday? Miré. What did I watch? Un partido, with whom? Con Julio, and I could just keep adding on, right? En mi casa, por la tarde, right? And I can add on add-ons to extend my answer, okay? Speaking of which, certain interrogatives, as we just saw with those previous examples, certain interrogatives elicit certain kinds of add-ons, right? Particularly those introduced by prepositions. So if I hear con quién, like I mentioned previously, they're asking about participants. Or cuando has to do with time, frequency. A qué hora, obviously somebody wants to know the time. Donde, they're asking about the place. Por qué, the add-on would be the cause, right, of the activity in question. And like I was just mentioning, you can use add-ons, right, even ones that aren't overtly asked for, to extend your response, which is a great strategy in conversation, right? It's very easy to do, makes you sound that much smarter, but it's especially important in an oral proficiency interview or an exam, right? They don't want yes or no answers, they want extended discourse. So if the instructor asks me, ¿Estudias los fines de semana? I can say, sí, or sí, claro, yes, of course. Or I could extend that and sound smarter, right? Sí, claro, estudio los domingos por la tarde con un grupo de amigos en la biblioteca, adding on 4 or 5 add-ons. See how it works? Another example, if I'm asked, ¿Qué vas a hacer esta noche? Because the instructor, the interviewer, the examiner wants to know if I can handle this particular construction, right? I could just say, voy a salir, and she's marking down, not very smart, right? Or I could say, voy a salir con mis amigos a las 8 para tomar unas copas en un bar, and just keep stringing on these add-ons and sound that much smarter. Extend the discourse, okay? Okay, we may say a little bit more about add-ons later. Let's move on and talk about a third key factor to consider when interpreting and responding to questions. I'm talking about time frames signaled by verb tenses. This one's kind of a no-brainer, but in an oral exam situation, as well as in any kind of conversation, it's crucial to pay attention to the time frame verb tenses being used in the questions addressed to us. Okay, so generally, one responds in the same time frame and tense in which the question is posed. For oral exams targeting the basic and intermediate levels, and for most casual conversations, awareness of the three main time frames and their most representative tenses should suffice. So, we're either going to be talking usually about the present moment and typically using the present tense. We might be talking about sometime in the past, in which case we'd be using the preterite or the imperfect tense, or sometime in the future, using either ir plus a plus the verb construction to say what somebody is going to do, or the future tense proper. So these are the three main moments and the 3 or 4 or 5 tenses that at the basic to intermediate level you want to practice, okay, and you want to listen to. So if a question comes at me in the present tense, ¿juegas al tenis? I'm going to answer in the present tense. Sí, juego todas las tardes. So again, in general, respond in the same tense in which the question is posed. So what if a question comes at me instead in the imperfect? ¿Jugabas mucho al tenis el año pasado? No, no jugaba mucho. No jugaba mucho. Again, same tense. Could also apply to a future worded question, right? ¿Vas a jugar al tenis esta tarde? ¿Vas a jugar al tenis? No, no voy a jugar esta tarde. So again, I'm recycling different bits and pieces, but in particular, I'm recycling the verb tense that comes at me in the question. ¿Vas a jugar? No, no voy a jugar. Okay, let's look at a fourth factor affecting both the semantic and structural aspects of asking and answering questions in Spanish. This one pertains specifically to questions dealing with activities people engage in, what people do, what they did, what they're going to do, etc. One way of making useful distinctions among types of questions that deal specifically with people's activities is to consider the degree of openness or creativity in terms of the responses that they allow. So we're talking about response openness or creativity. Okay, now this approach really looks at several factors, kind of pulls several factors all together, this approach or this factor that I'm calling response openness, right? And again, we're dealing with questions whose focus is on activities that people do. Some of the things to consider are, is the response restricted or open? Two sort of big distinctions. Now, when responses are restricted, we have two types of questions. We have questions in which the verb comes first, in which case they're yes or no or alternative type questions. We've seen some of those. And we also have a second category in which the interrogative pronoun, the question word, comes first. We're going to be breaking all of these down in detail. If you have an open, right, a response in which the person can respond freely, you have a different structure. You have the word que, the interrogative pronoun que, and then you're going to have a form of the verb hacer. Again, we're going to look at all of these in detail. Second thing to consider is that's characteristic about these kinds, is their word order. What's the typical structure for each of these three? And I'm talking about verb first, interrogative first, or que plus hacer. So they have different typical structures, different word orders that characterize them. We'll look at their primary response emphasis and secondary emphases. And then we'll also look at the role of add-ons. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through each of these three types, verb first questions and interrogative first questions. Both of these types are restricted response. Then I'll look at a question that starts with que and has a form of the verb hacer, a more open response type of question. And we'll consider all of these factors for each and give lots of examples. So are you strapped in? Let's go. So first of all, questions that begin with the verb. Examples: ¿Estudias? ¿Estudias mucho? ¿Estudias matemáticas o química? ¿Estudias en la biblioteca? What we can see about these verb first questions, and again, the reason I'm explaining this is if you're sitting in an oral interview or trying to have a conversation with someone you just met, it's helpful to be able to recognize, okay, what kind of question is this and how does that tell me how I should respond? If you hear the verb first, that's going to tell you quite a bit about where you can go from there. So the order of these, if you look, is either verb. The subject would come after the verb, so I could say, ¿Estudias tú mucho? And then some type of complement or adjunct, right? ¿Estudias tú matemáticas o química los jueves? Right? I could use that structure. So verb, verb subject, verb complement, and adjunct. That's the structure. Important thing is verb first. Now in these, as we can see, the primary emphasis, what it's really asking us to do is to respond yes or no, right? ¿Estudias mucho? No. Or to pick an alternative. ¿Estudias matemáticas o química? Estudio química. There's a secondary emphasis on a particular add-on, like en la biblioteca. And in terms of the typical add-on role, there are often add-ons, different complements or adjuncts that are present, and sometimes these are the actual focus of the question. Let's go through some examples of these verb-first questions. ¿Estudias? Sí, estudio teatro, right? I can add on something. Or no, no estudio. ¿Estudias mucho? Sí, estudio bastante. Again, these are yes or no questions. ¿Estudias mucho? No, no estudio mucho. ¿Y tú? Remember, you can always add ¿y tú to turn the question around back on your partner in the conversation or the person giving you the oral exam, right? ¿Estudias matemáticas o química? An alternative question. Matemáticas. Estudio matemáticas. ¿Estudias en la biblioteca? They're asking us about the add-on en la biblioteca. That's the emphasis. Sí, a veces. Here I answered with frequency. ¿Y tú? No. Here I address the add-on. No. Estudio en mi apartamento. Okay, let's look at some more examples of verb first questions. Moving away from the verb estudiar, which is going to sort of be my model verb. ¿Bailas bien? Do you dance well? ¿Bailas bien? Again, it's a verb first question that tells you if you hear the verb first, it could be a yes or no, or maybe an alternative. Sí, sí, bailo muy bien. ¿Bailas bien? No, no bailo muy bien. What if the verb were cantar? ¿Cantas bien? Sí. O no, no canto muy bien. ¿Cantas mucho? Sí o no. ¿Viven tus padres en San Francisco? Sí, viven allá hace 4 años. I added on an add-on that has to do with duration. No, viven en Los Angeles. I switched the add-on. ¿Quieres café o té? Café, por favor. An alternative question, right? Quiero café, por favor. Prefiero café. ¿Quieres café o té? Café, por favor. ¿Sales todos los fines de semana? Again, it's verb first. It's yes or no. ¿Sales todos los fines de semana? It's a long question, right? ¿Sales todos los fines de semana? But it's just a yes or no question. I can just simply say, sí. That's not going to impress the person examining me, so I'm going to add on. Sí. Salgo todos los sábados. There I'm basically recycling. Con amigos. I added on and add on, right? Or I can say, depende, right? Depende. Your oral examiner would love that, right? Instead of saying sí o no and ending the interaction, you say depende and add a veces tengo que trabajar, right? Depende is a great answer, but you got to follow it up with something. So those are verb first questions. Again, they're usually yes or no or alternative. They're easy to answer. Second type of restricted answer question are interrogative first questions. So, ¿qué? ¿Con quién? ¿Dónde? ¿A dónde? ¿Cuándo? ¿A qué hora? All of these are restricted answers because the answer is already implied in the question somehow, right? Or they're telling you what to answer. The order is going to be the interrogative pronoun plus the verb plus the subject, which may or may not be stated, right? ¿Qué estudias tú? ¿Con quién estudia tu hermano? There's the subject, and then maybe a complement and an adjunct. Okay, that's the syntactical order. The important part is interrogative pronoun and then verb. ¿Qué estudias? ¿Con quién estudia? ¿Dónde estudian? ¿Cuándo estudias? So don't panic if you hear a question that begins with an interrogative pronoun because it's still a restricted answer type of question. It's an easy one, right? It's a softball. Primary emphasis, you supply the add-on, right? Secondary emphases, you may address other add-ons or supply other add-ons. So what's the role of the add-ons? They're almost always the focus of interrogative first questions. Let's look at some examples, or these examples with their answers. So, if somebody asks me, ¿qué estudias tú? Estudio, supply the add-on, filosofía y letras. Estudio filosofía y letras. Those two complements are what they want to hear. ¿Con quién estudia tu hermano? So address the add-on. ¿Con quién estudia tu hermano? Estudia con sus roommates, con sus compañeros de estudios o de cuarto. ¿Dónde estudian tus amigas? En el café de la esquina. So I'm supplying the add-on. I'm recognizing that the interrogative here is an interrogative about place, location, destination, and I'm supplying that type of add-on. ¿Dónde estudian tus amigas? En el café de la esquina, right? An additional phrase there. ¿Cuándo estudias en la facultad? When do you study on campus? Again, here is an additional add-on that they want me to address. En la facultad. Los jueves por la tarde, después de mis clases. So a couple of these examples illustrate when answering questions, it's not always necessary to repeat the verb, right? In these cases, interrogative first questions, it's the add-on that matters. So, ¿dónde estudian tus amigas? En el café. That's enough. That's enough to say. All right. Some more examples of interrogative first questions. Again, these are restricted answer. We supply the add-on. ¿Dónde vives? Vivo en Chicago. Chicago. ¿Y tú? ¿Con quién trabajas? Trabajo con Arturo y Amelia. Depende del día. ¿Cuándo es el partido? Interrogative first. ¿Cuándo es el partido? El partido es este domingo o este domingo a las 4 de la tarde. Adding on. ¿Qué película vieron anoche? I can say, vimos Transformadores, or I can just leave the verb off. Transformadores. ¿Y ustedes? ¿Qué película vieron? ¿Por qué estudias tanto? Why do you study so much? ¿Por qué estudias tanto? They're asking for a reason and explanation. Estudio tanto, which I can leave off. Porque tengo 2 exámenes mañana. Finally, let's look at an unrestricted response type of question, right? An open response is when the first word of the sentence is que, or the question is que, followed very quickly by a form of the verb hacer. I call these que hacer questions, right? The verb is not defined. We have to come up with a verb, right? That's why I call these open response or unrestricted. Ejemplos. ¿Qué haces tú los viernes? What do you do Fridays? ¿Qué hicieron ustedes ayer? They're not giving me much to go on here, right? I have to come up with a verb. What did you guys do yesterday? Ustedes. ¿Qué hace ella en su tiempo libre? What does she do in her free time? There's literally hundreds of things that I could respond about what she does in her free time. It's an open response question. ¿Qué vas a hacer después de la clase? What are you going to do after class? There is no restricted response, right? It's wide open. What am I going to do? So the order here is the interrogative pronoun que plus a subject, which may or may not be stated but implied, right? And then some type of adjunct often, right? The primary emphasis, the thing the respondent has to do is supply the actual activity, right? Secondary is to address any other add-ons. So the role of add-ons is that they're usually expressed as part of the question. Look at the examples. ¿Qué haces tú los viernes ayer en su tiempo libre después de clase? And they're used to narrow the focus of the respondent's response. So let's look at these examples and some others. How could I respond to a ¿qué hacer question, an open response, unrestricted response question like ¿qué haces los viernes? I could say, trabajo y estudio, ¿y tú? Salgo con mis amigos por la noche. ¿Qué hicieron ustedes ayer? What did you all do yesterday? Fuimos al cine, ¿y ustedes? Or nos quedamos en casa viendo tele. ¿Qué hace ella en su tiempo libre? Ve televisión, o ella ve televisión, o hace ejercicio. So usually in the ¿qué hacer questions, I don't answer with the verb hacer, but in this case, I'm using an expression, hacer ejercicio, that uses hacer, so I can get away with it. Ve televisión, o hace ejercicio. ¿Qué vas a hacer después de clase? Voy a tomar un café con la profesora. That might be questionable, but that's how I roll. Don't judge. Some other examples. ¿Qué hacer questions? Again, open response. I supply the verb. The verb isn't specified. ¿Qué haces los fines de semana? The time frame is specified, right? What do you usually do weekends? So I answer in the present tense, same tense. Veo partidos de fútbol y estudio un poco. ¿Qué hiciste anoche? Salí con mi novia, fuimos a bailar salsa. ¿Qué haces cuando tienes tiempo libre? When I give oral proficiency exams, this is one of my favorite open-ended or unrestricted response questions to ask, because it really puts the onus on the responder to come up with various activities. ¿Qué haces cuando tienes tiempo libre? ¿O qué haces en tu tiempo libre? The person might respond, leo, escribo en mi blog, o veo películas, or whatever else, right? But use the present tense if the verb comes at you in the present tense. And finally, ¿qué van a hacer tus padres mañana? No sé, creo que van a visitar a mi hermana. Creo que van a visitar a mi hermana. Okay, enough about the factor of response openness. Let's consider a fifth and final factor that can have a big impact on our ability to interpret and respond to questions appropriately. This last factor concerns whether the question and response involve a single verb or some combination of two verbs, what I'm going to call dual verb structure or construction. The questions and answers, or the question and answer sequences we've seen so far, have involved single verb constructions almost exclusively. But in the previous section, I started introducing a few examples of dual verb constructions. Specifically, I slipped in a few questions and answers that use the ir plus a plus verb construction to ask what people were going to do at some point in the future. For example, I asked, ¿Qué vas a hacer después de clase? ¿Qué vas a hacer después de clase? That question, as you can see, contains both the verb ir and hacer, so its answer also had to reflect that dual verb structure, and it was voy a tomar un café con la profesora. Voy a tomar un café, two verbs. Now, using the ir plus a plus verb construction to ask about future actions is one of the most common dual verb question and answer formats. But there are several others that are very common in everyday conversation and in oral proficiency interviews, even at the basic/intermediate level. So let's take a look at some of these other dual verb constructions. All right, so what I want to do on these next few slides is to look at some of the most common dual verb question and answer constructions, tell you how they're used, and give some examples in terms of questions and answers. So on the next two slides, I have a little table that shows some of the most common dual verb structures. We have, of course, ir plus a plus a verb, which is used to indicate the future, right? For example, ¿vas a estudiar en casa? Are you going to study at home? We also have gustar plus a verb to indicate likes and dislikes. ¿Te gusta estudiar? Do you like to study? Or querer plus a verb used to indicate desire, want, wish, right? ¿Quieres estudiar conmigo? Do you want to study with me? In a sense, these are easy because we use the exact same formulas in English, right? ¿Quieres estudiar conmigo? Do you want to study with me? Dual verb construction in both languages. Preferir, right? Preferir plus a verb, very similar to querer to indicate preference. ¿Prefieres estudiar o dormir? ¿Prefieres estudiar o dormir? Moving on to the next slide. For more dual verb structures, right? Tener plus que plus a verb. This is used to indicate obligation, to say what somebody has to or what people have to do. ¿Tienes que estudiar mañana? ¿Tienes que estudiar mañana? Do you have to study tomorrow? Similarly, the verb deber plus a verb to indicate obligation, to say what somebody must or should do. ¿Debes estudiar con ellos? Do you have to, must you, should you study with them? ¿Debes estudiar con ellos? Necesitar plus a verb to indicate what somebody needs to do. ¿Necesitas estudiar hoy? ¿Necesitas estudiar hoy? I know you're probably getting sick of the verb estudiar, but I just used it as a convenient model verb. Do you need to study? Dual verb construction. Do you need to study today? Pensar plus a verb indicates somebody's intentions or plans, often in the immediate future, right? ¿Piensas estudiar arte? Do you plan or do you intend to study art? So those are 8, an overview of 8 of the most common, perhaps, dual verb structures, particularly at the intermediate level, right, that you might hear on a intermediate level or intermediate level targeted oral proficiency exam. Okay, but some of them are very basic, like ir plus a. ¿Vas a estudiar en casa? Sí, voy a estudiar en casa. ¿Y tú? No, no voy a estudiar. No, voy a estudiar en la biblioteca. And the way I've organized these illustrations or examples is on the basis that we saw in the previous section, verb first, interrogative first examples, and then finally qué hacer question examples. So these are verb first examples. ¿Vas a estudiar en casa? Only we're using dual verb constructions. Sí, voy a estudiar en casa. So even though it's a dual verb construction, it's still a verb first type of question, which means it's a yes or no question or an alternative question. ¿Te gusta estudiar? Sí, me gusta. Or no, no me gusta mucho estudiar. ¿Y a ti? It's a yes or no question, verb first. ¿Quieres estudiar conmigo? No, no quiero estudiar contigo. Quiero or prefiero estudiar solo. ¿Prefieres estudiar o dormir? Here's a verb first alternative, right? ¿Prefieres estudiar o dormir? Prefiero dormir, pero tengo que estudiar. Okay? A couple more examples in the verb first modality. ¿Tienes que estudiar mañana? Sí, tengo que estudiar todos los días. So we have the same dual verb construction in the question and the answer. ¿Debes estudiar con ellos? Sí, hoy debo estudiar con ellos. Hoy debo estudiar con ellos. I have to, or I should, or I must study with them today. ¿Necesitas estudiar hoy? No, no necesito estudiar hoy. ¿Piensas estudiar arte? Do you plan to? Do you intend to study art? No, pienso estudiar arquitectura. So again, verb first questions tend to be yes or no or alternatives. They're very easy even though it's a dual verb construction. It's a yes or a no, then you recycle the same two verbs, right? ¿Necesitas estudiar hoy? No, no necesito estudiar hoy. Let's look at some dual verb questions and answers in the interrogative first modality. ¿A dónde quieres ir? So, interrogative first. ¿A dónde? Quiero ir al centro comercial. So we're addressing the add-on particularly in our answer. ¿Con quién te gusta ver televisión? So again, we're going to have two verbs in our answer. Me gusta ver televisión con mis hijos. Me gusta ver. ¿En qué horario prefieres trabajar? What schedule, right? What time do you prefer to work? Prefer to work, two verb construction. Prefiero trabajar entre las 2 y las 6 de la tarde. So again, the two same verbs in the answer. Prefiero trabajar. ¿Cuánto necesitas ahorrar? Talking about money. It's a quantity question, right? How much do you need to save? Two verbs. Do you need to save? Same two verbs in the answer. Necesito ahorrar $2,000. Necesito ahorrar $2,000. So those are examples of interrogative first dual verb Q&A construction. Finally, let's look at what happens when we have a ¿qué hacer type of question in a dual verb construction. ¿Qué vas a hacer mañana? Mañana voy a levantarme tarde y lavar el coche. But still, two basic verbs, right? I use the dual verb construction. Voy a levantarme tarde y lavar el coche. ¿Qué quieres hacer esta tarde? So two verbs, querer and hacer. So two verbs in the answer. Quiero ir a la playa. Quiero ir a la playa. The moral of the story here is if there's a dual verb construction in the question, there better be two verbs in your answer. ¿Qué tienes que hacer el sábado? It's an open response question. ¿Qué hacer? ¿Qué tienes que hacer el sábado? Tengo que terminar un proyecto para mi clase de historia. Tengo que terminar. Two verb construction in the answer. ¿Qué piensas hacer este verano? What do you plan to do? What do you intend to do this summer? ¿Qué piensas hacer este verano? Pienso tomar una clase por internet y viajar a Europa. Pienso tomar, answering with two verbs, una clase por internet y viajar a Europa. The viajar goes with pienso as well. Pienso tomar y pienso viajar. Okay, that's going to do it for part 2B of the second lesson in my series on asking and answering questions in Spanish. If you're ready to continue on to the end of the second lesson, I invite you to search for part 2C or just click on the link here and we'll learn together in that third installment of this second lesson.